Dear students, let us start the discussion on today's newspaper, that is 7th June 2016. The first article is related to the recent convictions in Godhra incident, especially Gulbarga case. Now this article by R.K. Raghavan, it explains the criminal justice delivery system in India, what are the problems it is facing. Now, remember this point. Now, the first responsibility of the state is to instill a sense of justice. So, the criminal justice delivery system, it fails to do this. Then a law-abiding citizen tries to go beyond the law and seeks for a quick justice from alternative sources. Now, when he gets into doubt about the capabilities of the state, then it erodes the roots of the constitutional governance. In this context, India has a low conviction rate and then low FIR filing, overburdened judiciary, complex judicial process, lack of witness production. All these things, they are making justice a mockery, and this is giving space for the alternative people, or else the parallel justice delivery systems in India or illegal justice delivery systems in India. So in this case, the special investigation team was appointed to look into the Gulbarga massacre, and out of 8 issues, it was able to get the people convicted on 7 counts. So it shows that a specialized investigation which is on communal issues or any matter of importance, if performed without any political or local interferences, it can provide for greater conviction rates. So the SIT, which is appointed and supervised by the Supreme Court after Godhra riots, its work is remarkable in this context. Now coming to education, this is very important essay for your, the very important topic for your essay. Now, when I read this, it's so beautifully presented. It can become a basis for understanding how to write a good essay. Now, in this case, first, what are the goals of learning? So, he immediately tried to give you, so what is essence of the essay is going to be. So, whenever you start an essay, I said to the students, there has to be a hook, a funnel, a thesis statement. So here he has directly started with a thesis statement on value education. He took the UNESCO and he said, the objectives of learning according to UNESCO are 4. That is learning to know, learning to do, learning to live in harmony, and learning to be. So what he is trying to do is, education has an intrinsic value. But in our Marx-led education system, we try to correlate with it an extrinsic value. That is one thing. And the second thing is, so in education, it is meant to provide a production or benefit to the society. So in this case, he has taken various people such as Immanuel Kant. He spoke about Rousseau, and he even spoke about Einstein. So all these quotes becomes very critical for us to write a good essay. Try to mug them up and remember them. Now coming to clear the air on FDI in retail. Now foreign direct investments are 100% allowed in single brand retail. So what is meant by the single brand? It has to sell only one brand. So Nike store, only one brand is sold in that particular store. So it means the company outlets, direct company outlets can be established with 100% of FDI is allowed in them. So now, if the company is owned or consists of more than 51% of foreign ownership, there is one clause. The 30% of the contents of its products have to be locally sourced. Now, this is exempted for cutting-edge functionaries, cutting-edge technologies. So, and high complex technologies. So, in this case, Apple, it wants to establish its own direct outlets. For this, it wants to get the permission from the government. Under this exemption, it likes to get the permission. So what consists of a cutting edge technology is not defined, and it left to the bureaucratic discretion, where it may lead to arbitrariness. And again, this compulsory procurement is discouraging the FDIs to come into India, that is one thing. And the second is, it is also against the national treatment clause of World Trade Organization. What is meant by this nationality treatment? So even a foreign agency, if it is establishing in India, whatever the treatment we give to the local companies and corporations, the same treatment has to be given to the foreign companies too. So this very provision is getting violated over here. So in this context, we can do away with this particular clause, and it will encourage the flow of FDIs into the country. And coming to Prime Minister's recent visits, so you know that India wants to enter into NSG. NSG stands for Nuclear Suppliers Group. It is a cartel of 48 nations which decide on the supply of the nuclear fuel. Now, this NSG, it came against India itself. When India first did the nuclear tests during Indira Gandhi era, against to that NSG has come into existence. Now, in NSG, they make all the decisions unanimously. The China, what it said is, unless India signs NPT, it cannot be a member of NSG. So India is not a signatory of NPT, Non-Proliferation Treaty, saying that it is discriminatory. So China has kept that as an objection. Now there are certain nuclear hardliners. These are Mexico and then Switzerland, all these countries. So in this case, Prime Minister is visiting Mexico, Switzerland and United States. Now Switzerland agreed to support India's bid to the Nuclear Suppliers Group. Then only country that will be standing for India to enter into NSG now is China. Even when an NSG waiver for our nuclear deal was supposed to get, China in the last minute, it tried to swift its positions, but under US pressure it finally agreed. Now US also supporting the India's entry into Nuclear Suppliers Group, but as no commercial deal happened after India-US nuclear agreement, then how enthusiastic US to support India into NSG is a major question. So more than that, the other things which Prime Minister spoke to Switzerland President are, now Swiss is known for a tax haven. So in this case, on curbing the black money and tax information exchange, they initiated the negotiations. And along with that, India also wants to take Switzerland help with regard to the clean energy. So these are the various things. And UN Security Council, non-permanent membership, both of the countries, they try to support each other's bid for that position. And then Modi is also reaching to United States. So what is going to be a discussion between Prime Minister Modi and President Obama? So clean energy, climate change, and added to that India's membership to NSG, and if possible bilateral investment treaties. These can be the possible discussions between these two leaders. This is what is speculated. Coming to Africa reaches out to Indian states. What does this mean over here? If you talk carefully, yesterday we discussed about Guazhou and Amaravati, part of Andhra Pradesh, where China province and a state in India, they are coming together for a cooperation for development of infrastructure. So previously we had sister cities concept, where Hyderabad has come down, or else it has developed a sister city network with Vancouver in Canada. Now, in External Affairs Ministry, the Center State Division is established. Now the states are being exposed to the global environment. In this case, Africa and many of the Indian states, they start engaging with each other. For example, if you take, the Tamil Nadu is known for textile industry. So the Tamil Nadu in India is engaging with Mali, which is known for the cotton production. So the most remarkable change on diplomacy front in the existing government is bringing the states into direct engagement on the global affairs. Now coming to man and animal thing. So again, this is more an emotional aspect, but however, how can we use this? As I said to you previously, an essay shall have a hooker. Hooker is one which attracts the examiner to look into your essay. And then funnel. Funnel helps you to move from general to specific. And then thesis statement. What is the central idea of your essay? Now in this case, the hooker, if you observe, you can start very well with this particular statement. It is impossible to write a decent history of human society now without taking the contributions of animals into account. Or if education essay is there, it is impossible to write a decent history of human society without taking the development of education into consideration, contribution of education into consideration. So this is how you can use it as a hooker. And other than that, I don't see a value for our exam over here. Now coming to the Indian Express, the land policy to build center-state consensus. Now, previously we had Jamindari system. Now many of the states, they see land leasing by the landowners to the tenants is continuation of this Jamindari system. And that's why land leasing laws do not exist. Because of this, land leasing is mostly an informal action in India. So, if a loan has to be given to a person who took the land, agricultural land on lease, it is not possible. Any loan, crop loan, it comes only to the owner. So the institutional credit and other things are not possible because of this lack of land leasing act. So added to that, many of the people, they are unable to use their land for productivity because once the land is given on a lease, they are afraid of various legal consequences. So the land has been, is barren and no crop is grown on that. The productivity is also getting affected. So in these circumstances, a land leasing law, a model law is prepared by the center and it wants to present it for various states. Under this, the land leasing will be legally recognized. And the person who is cultivating the land, he will get institutional credit, disaster relief, and many other benefits from the government. Insurance benefits, anything, it gets to him. And along with this, the owner will retain his property rights. So that's why between the owner and the lessor, there is kind of a good relationship maintained over here. So this is what is the government is contemplating. Now this year I am expecting a question on land leasing because land reforms is part of our syllabus under economy. Now coming to sailing into the Indo-Pacific, the C. Raja Mohan article. Now previously the term used was Asia Pacific. Now United States and everyone, they started using Indo-Pacific. So this is a change. Now it means Indo-Pacific as a term, it signifies a coordination between the littoral states of Indian Ocean and then Pacific Ocean. So in this case, as China has no direct access to Indian Ocean, so the Indo-Pacific means India becomes the central to it. So let us see, India has to acknowledge this Indo-Pacific. Now even when India-US relations are being concerned, so the Hindu paper also talks about Indo-Pacific, that is what is the term used. Previously, India did not use the term, thinking that it may hurt the sentiments of China, but India also now started actively using this particular term. Let us see how the things evolve on this. Now coming to the cult of the leader. You know that Andhra Pradesh is reorganized and two states are created, Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. So, both the leaders K. Chandrasekhar Rao and in Andhra Pradesh Chandrababu Naidu. So these two people, they are most depending upon the cult of their leadership and centralization in their administration. So in these circumstances, so development of alternative leadership or lower rung leadership is getting questioned. And another important thing is growth of familial politics. Our family-centric politics is clearly visible after the division of the state. Even before that, the family politics dominated, but its significance has remarkably increased. And on the wrong side, the people movements or popular movements, they are not visible. And the next is a basic income. So now, yesterday we covered this article. In Switzerland, a referendum was held that basic income shall be assured for every citizen in the country, around $2,000 of basic income for every individual. So, but however, 77% of the people voted against it. But why this discussion has come up? That is for one reason. More and more automation is increasing industry, and people may become jobless. In those circumstances, state has to guarantee them. And the second thing is, the people, with regard to the welfare programs and bureaucratization of the welfare programs, people have their own doubts. So that's why direct income transfers they are looking at. But as the state said it is financially going to increase the burden of the state by 3 times, and the taxes will increase by 50%, people oppose to this particular move. And you know Madura, where a violence led to the killing of around 24 people in this, the intelligence failure, the politics and this organized crime nexus, and lack of capabilities at the ground level staff, especially the police, in handling the mob. So these are the various issues that need to be addressed. That's what this article says. And finally, coming to the income and low growth trap. So the states, especially the poor states, low income states in India, that suffer from various things. One is, in the low income group states, there is a poverty, higher poverty compared to the rich states, that is accepted. But low income states are more exclusive. The inclusive growth is absent. It means the poor rich differences are very high in the low income groups. And the third thing is, there is a clear ethnic and regional distribution of poverty in these low income group states. For example, if you see the scheduled tribes and the regions where they live, there the poverty is high. This is the World Bank study. This topic directly sits into our poverty and hunger related aspects. So, in India, so the regional differences between rich states and poor states exist. Even among the poor states, there are sub-regional differences. So those points we need to understand and keep it for our exam. So thank you very much. All the best.